All right, we are set with recording, so just a moment as I share my screen. All right, I hope you can see my screen. Yeah, Kingdom Financial Institute. Let's just do this. Yeah. So Kingdom Financial Institute, who we are, Kingdom Financial Institute is a leading financial literacy school committed to empowering and educating first generation wealth builders to build, preserve, and transfer wealth based on biblical principles. Our vision statement, our vision is to be the premier destination for first generation wealth builders seeking to transform their financial futures. We aspire to create a global community of informed and empowered individuals who, through our guidance and resources, can build substantial wealth, protect their assets, and leave a lasting financial legacy for generations to come. We envision a world where financial security and generational prosperity are within reach for all who seek it, regardless of their background or previous financial experience. Our mission statement at Kingdom Financial Institute, our mission is to provide first generation wealth builders with the knowledge, tools, and strategies they need to achieve financial success and create a lasting legacy. We are dedicated to fostering financial literacy and promoting wealth building opportunities while ensuring that our students have the skills and confidence to navigate the complexities of wealth preservation. So that is who we are. We like to keep repeating this because we have new people joining us every now and then. And for also you who's here, for you to keep understanding who we are. I do have one announcement. I'm not sure. I think Cheryl was here last year and Simba as well. We do have a class coming up in April that's titled How to Invest in Real Estate Without Owning Property. So stay tuned for the dates of the class, but it's gonna be in April, mid-April actually, on the 15th to the 19th. Yeah, so the dates are 15th to the 19th. So stay tuned for more details on that class. Again, the title of the class is gonna be How to Invest in Real Estate Without Owning Property. So if you were here last year, you know we had that class, and we are having a broader class for 4 days. So make sure you purpose to register for the class and be there. Right. Also, if you still need one-on-one with Coach Isaac, kindly feel free to reach out to us and we will book a consultation with you and you'll be able to determine what your specific needs are. And Coach Isaac is more than willing to walk with you through your personal journey, your customized journey. While these community sessions are good, the one-on-one sessions enable you to customize your own plan, and he's gonna walk with you whatever stage you're in life. So kindly, if you would love to have a one-on-one with Coach Isaac, let us know. We'll provide the details before end of the session, and he's more than willing to do that. Right. So it's about time to introduce our speaker for the night. Not just the speaker for the night, but the founder of Kingdom Financial Institute as well. And his name is Isaac Kubvoruno, and I'll read a brief history of who he is, and then welcome him. Coach Isaac Kubvoruno is a seasoned financial literacy consultant and wealth building coach with over 23 years of entrepreneurial success. He's driven by the biblical mandate to create generational wealth, as exemplified by Proverbs 13:22, that says that a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Coach Isaac is also the visionary behind Kingdom Business Academy, which is an institution that offers Bible-based business coaching, leadership development, and entrepreneurial guidance. And Coach Isaac's holistic approach and profound understanding of the intersection of faith and finance make him a sought-after speaker, coach, and mentor who is dedicated to helping others achieve financial success and leave a lasting legacy. So without further ado, kindly help me welcome Coach Isaac to take over. Welcome, Coach Isaac.
Thank you very much, Coach Lucy. Welcome, everybody. I want to thank God for yet another privilege to come together and learn more about what we can do to be able to build wealth, preserve it, and pass it to the next generation. How are you? I hope you are doing well wherever you are. And for those that are watching on Facebook, we also hope you are doing well. Today's topic is one that is very practical. Again, you'll be able to use this information right away. You won't even need to wait. This is some of the information that you can utilize today, right today. And we are talking about budgeting. And please allow me to share my screen so you can follow through easily. Wonderful. Coach Lucy has already shared with us our vision statement and who we are and everything else. But today we are talking about budgeting and cash flow management. Budgeting and cash flow management. All of us, the goal, like we said before, is that you understand that without income, it is very difficult to build wealth. Without income, it is difficult and even impossible to build wealth. Now, budgeting, for those that may be asking, what is budgeting? Budgeting is just a financial plan, and it outlines your individual income, right? And expectations of income and expenditures for a specific period of time. And you can run a month-to-month budget. If you are an organization, you can also do a year-to-year budget. But a budget is just a financial plan. Simple as that. A plan that outlines your individual expected income and expected expenditures for a specific period of time, usually monthly or yearly or annually. You know, I often term it as a roadmap or a GPS, a financial GPS that leads you to the destiny that you desire to reach. So it is very, very important that you understand what budgeting is all about, because it is a very important financial tool for anyone who is serious about building wealth and preserving wealth and passing wealth to the next generation. Budgeting, it is a very, very important plan or a tool that you can utilize to get you from where you are right now to where you desire to be financially as an individual. So we are going to talk about budgeting today. Please take some notes and begin to implement this. This is very, very practical. A financial plan. The Bible says in Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30, right? Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and wasn't able to finish. Right? Planning, sitting down to make your financial plans. That's what the Bible says here. And the next is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5, where the Bible says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. So what it means is that you and me must have financial plans. Do you have goals for your finances? We all, if we are serious about living a good, productive, and stress-free life, we have to ensure that we have a plan set aside for our income. And that's what a budget is all about. Right. Last verse that we're going to talk about today is Proverbs chapter 31, verse 16 to 18, which says, she considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. This is the virtuous woman of Proverbs chapter 31. Yeah, there is an erroneous belief in the Christian world that women are not supposed to be productive in the things they do. They are not supposed to bring income. Their duty is just to sit at home and that's all. But we see, when you read the story of the Proverbs 31 woman, she paints a completely different picture from that which is popularized on social media and in churches today. It says there, I want us to read again. She, the woman, the Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman, she considers a field and buys it. She is into real estate, right? She considers a field and she buys it. And then he says, out of her earnings, out of her profits, out of her dividends, she plants a vineyard. What it means is that she diversifies her income sources. She's in real estate, and then she's also in farming, right? And then he says she sets about her work vigorously. She works hard, and her arms are strong for the task. And she sees that her trading is profitable. She is also in trading. Imagine that. Probably she has an Amazon store, or she has an online store somewhere, not necessarily, but she is into trading. She buys and sells things at a profit. And actually, when you read further, it even says that she buys from foreign, which is she's into import and export. That cannot happen without a plan. She has a diversified portfolio, and she has multiple streams of income. That is a godly woman. That is the virtuous woman that we talk about, right? So planning is very important in the area of finances. So today, again, we are saying we are showing us how to create a budget. And we say the budget is a financial plan that tells you the expected expenditures and the expected income, right? So what is a budget? We have already talked about it, but now we want to see how to create a budget. So number one, the thing that you need to do first in creating a budget is identify your income. Identify your income, which means that ask yourself, what is the source of my income? Is your income from a job? Is your income from a side hustle? Is your income from a tax refund? Is your income from a salary? Is your income from a bonus? Is your income from Social Security? Is your income from dividends? Is your income from a business? Whatever that those the sources of income, you have to identify them and then add them up so you can know without a shadow of a doubt how much it is that you earn on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis. Now, this is very important. If your budget is monthly, then you have to calculate the total income. Identify your income and your income sources. That's the beginning of a budget, because remember we said it is impossible to build wealth without income. So it is important to identify your income and your income sources. Number two is list your expenses. List them. Don't be shy. Be honest with yourself and sit down and list your expenses. Categorize your expenses into what we call fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are things like your rent or your mortgage, your insurance, your car insurance, your life insurance, things that don't change the amount on a month-to-month basis, right? Those are what we call fixed expenses. So list all of them. And then we also have what we call variable expenses. These are expenses that change month by month. For example, food and entertainment, personal spending, and you can go on and on. Those expenses are variable. They change from month to month based on several circumstances. So we are saying that the second most important thing about creating a budget is to list your expenses, all of them, the fixed expenses and the variable expenses, the expenses that don't change and the expenses that change. List them, all of them. It may require you to spend more than a week remembering and going through your checkbook or your bank account to see where your money goes. It is very important. That exercise is the second most important in determining what your budget is going to look like. Third is set your priorities. After you have identified your income and you have listed all your expenses, the fixed expenses and the variable expenses, and you have listed all of them, then the next thing is that you set priorities. What does it mean to set priorities? You have to distinguish between what we call needs and wants. Not everything that you will find on your bank statement or in your checkbook is going to be a need. There are some things that are not needs, but that are wants. Wants are things that we can do without. Needs are essentials. You cannot do without them. For example, housing. We talked about mortgage. We talked about rent. You cannot live without that because that provides for your shelter. Food is a need because you can't go without food. Clothing, while the clothing is a need, but it also may be considered a luxury or a want, because in the majority of cases we just have the habit of buying clothing when we actually have enough, right? So a wealth builder does not just buy clothing because they are on sale. A wealth builder does not just buy furniture just because they just want to change. A wealth builder does not just buy things that are not needed just because, right? So what you have to be able to distinguish between wants and needs. so that you can focus on needs and build your income, right? So distinguishing between needs and wants is what we call setting priorities. What is important for me? What is important for me? You have to ask yourself, I need shelter. I need transportation to be able to go to work. And it has to be a reliable source of transportation, reliable transportation. Therefore, you're going to put money aside so that you can go to work every day. Or if you need a car, then you're going to buy a car that is reliable. Remember, we're using those words very intentionally. A reliable source of transportation, not an expensive one. No, a reliable. Right? That's why you see, if you look at people that really build wealth, yeah, they don't drive fancy cars that when they malfunction, you have to break the bank. All people that are serious about building wealth, they drive Toyotas and Hondas and Hyundais and Kias that are 5 up to 10, 11, 12 years old, or even 15, as long as it's reliable. That's what it takes to build wealth. Right? Don't look at what the neighbors are doing or what friends are doing or what everybody else is doing. Because we are saying here, we want to build wealth, and that wealth to be transferred to the next generation. And the way to do that, the way to liberate yourself and become financially free, is to prioritize. Set your priorities. A wealth builder, we said, does not buy anything that depreciates in value. Right. So that is important. That is setting priorities. What is essential for me? What can I do without? What can I do without? And you pick those things and put them at the lower side of your priority list. And then after you have done that, the next is allocate your funds. Allocate them based on your income and expenses. Now you allocate your income to the things that are essential. Like the previous says, set your priorities. So things that are at the top of your priority, then you allocate funds according to your priorities. Don't put more money on things that are at the bottom of your priorities. Right? So we allocate your funds and according to those categories that we talked about, and ensuring that your essentials are covered first. So what it means is that from the paycheck, you're going to ask yourself, have I allocated money for rent? Before you expend your money, you have to make sure that you have a roof over your head. Have I set aside money for food? Right. If I set money aside for transportation, because once you have a housing, and once you have food, and once you have transportation, then you are set, because you can go to work and your tummy is full, and then you can come back home and sleep in a comfortable home. Everything else becomes less essential, right? That is very important to distinguish, right? Transportation, housing, and food, most essential. Every other thing that you think about, yes, they may be important, but you can do without them. Allocate your after you have allocated those things now, based on your income, then you can think about things like saving, because a rainy day will always come. You have to save. Things in the house will break down. Your car will break down. Right. So if you have a car and it breaks down and you have not set aside money for that, it means that you won't be able even to go to work. Or you may have to borrow money and then pay interest on it, which is unnecessary if you had planned and put money aside for emergencies. Those emergencies could be your own sickness, And if you get sick and you need money to buy prescription, there's money put aside for that. And the rule of the thumb is always that you need to put money aside that covers at least 3 to 6 months to a year, if you are able, so that in the eventuality that something happens to you, you can still ensure that the essentials are met. I know people that have a habit of paying rent in advance. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. But I don't encourage it, because keep that money in your high yielding savings account if you can, and then it can earn some interest and then pay when it is needed. Right? It is, we have to make some smart choices about that. We will talk about that later. Allocate funds, right? And then after you allocate funds and you realize, oh, I still have more money, then you think about investment. You've saved a percentage of your income, and then now you think of how much am I going to put towards investment. Please understand there's a big difference between saving and investing. Saving is for short-term and mid-term goals. You want to replace your appliances. That's short-term. You want to put money aside to fix the house short-term. You want to buy furniture in the house short-term. But when we are now talking about retirement, when we are talking about college preparation for your children, now we are talking of investment. This is an account that money goes in one direction. You are investing and increasing your portfolio and diversifying your portfolio, and money that is in that portfolio should never come back to the savings account or to the checking account. That's why you have to budget, so you can be realistic in the amount that you set aside for it. Any one of us, all of us, we know that one day we will retire. One day we may be incapacitated. And if you get incapacitated without savings and investments, what will happen to you? You have to ask yourself questions like, if I was to be incapacitated today, will my children be able to sustain the same lifestyle they're experiencing today? If the answer is no, then you have to do something about it. The next one is set realistic expectations. Set realistic expectations. What does that mean? Create specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound financial goals. Don't just say, I'll save money or I'll invest. Be specific and say, how much are you going to put aside every month? If you are paid per month, if you are paid weekly, set aside how much am I going to put aside as a percentage or as a number. Because if you are not specific, then your saving goals are so can be unrealistic. Based on your income and based on your expenses, you have to come up with a number. If it's $10 a week, please do that. Remember what we said. The starting how to invest is not much about the amount. It's more about the habit, creating the habit of investing, even saving. It's not much about the amount as you are beginning. It's all about creating the habit. And we say that when both saving and investing, make it automated. Let it be direct deposited from your checking account into investment account. which is called a brokerage account. And then also make another automated withdrawal from your paycheck, from your employer, straight into your high-yielding savings account. Once you make your savings automated, and once you make your investment automated, it is sustainable. Even if you want to use that money for, if something happens, you cannot do that because it's going straight in those accounts before it hits your checking account. Serious investors, serious savers, make the saving and the investing automated. Next, we are talking now about tracking expenses. Now, it is very, very important that you know where your money is going. How do you track your expenses? There are people who earn quite a lot of money. And that's the majority of us. We earn quite a significant amount of money, but seldom do we track it. It's like a farmer who has a lot of cows and he doesn't even know how many they have. That somebody can come in and steal 20 and they don't even know if they are missing any cows. The same applies to our finances. We have to assign every dollar an assignment. Give every dollar an assignment. Track every expense and know where your money is going. Have a map, a financial map that tracks every expense. How do you do that? You can use tools, right? We use tools and apps. Today, there are apps that you can download. In our next lesson, we're going to talk about examples of those things that you can do. There are tools now that you can use, spreadsheets, right? And these days, it's easier to just download your bank statement and convert it into a spreadsheet and begin to look and analyze, be able to say, where is my money going? Because if you don't know where your money is going, you may be losing out a lot. You have to know where every dollar is going. And if you mind each dollar, if you mind every penny, all the big amounts will be assigned and will be accounted for. Have you ever come to the end of the month and you don't even know what happened with the money? And that's actually the majority of cases where we have earned a lot of money, but we cannot even tell where it went. So it is important that we leverage budgeting apps and spreadsheets and other tools that we can do to make sure that we track every expense. If somebody asked you today, what did you do with your last paycheck? You should be able to tell to the last penny. Every penny must be accounted for. If you are serious about wealth building and financial literacy and financial independence, you have to account for every penny. The question is, if I went into your vehicle today, will I find quarters and dollars and pennies just lying around? Because if you go into people that are serious about building wealth and they are financially independent, you will never find money lying around. I mean, I can guarantee you that. I mean, whenever you are visiting people, if you are a serious wealth builder, notice the habits of wealthy people. If you are driving in their cars, look on the floors and on the cup holders and everywhere. If that person is financially literate and they are a serious wealth builder, you will never find even a penny lying down, because they understand the idea of tracking every expense. and also giving every penny an assignment. If you have money lying around in your home, that's a habit you need to change. It means that you cannot account for every dollar that you spend. So you have to check at the end of the month. You need to learn to balance your budget. Did I do what the budget said I would do? There are people who can map out a good budget, but then they go over the budget every month. It doesn't make sense to have a budget that you cannot control. The budget has to control your expenses and ensure that you know where every penny is going. If you see, $20, I used to do that, where if I haven't worn a jacket for a long time, I put my hand in there, and then I find $20, sometimes $100. Yeah, that was the days of not understanding the power of tracking expenses and assigning every dollar. That today never happens, because every dollar is assigned. And if I don't do that, there will be a shortfall somewhere. Right. So we have to be very, very particular. Mind the pennies. And every dollar and every $100, every $1,000 will be accounted for. So today you have an assignment. Look around your house and pick all the quarters and the dimes, go in your car, take everything and take it to the bank. Imagine how much you are losing in compound interest. If that money was sitting in the investment account, earning interest and paying you dividends month after month, imagine how much you are losing out with money that is in your car, that one day you're going to vacuum, losing out. So it is very, very important to have a habit of ensuring that every penny is accounted for. Again, assign every penny. Give an assignment to every penny. You must know where every dollar is going. And then next is review regularly. Once you set your budget, it doesn't mean that the budget runs itself automatically. You can't do that, because there are various things that change throughout the month. So at the end of every month, at the end of every week, at the end of every bi-week, sit down, look at your budget and say, am I on track? Have I exceeded in my food allocation? Have I exceeded in my personal or if you put money aside for your own personal expenses, have I exceeded? If you are using an app, that is just a tap away. You can show you in which category. If it's rent, did anything change? If whatever it is, you can just tap on that category and it will show you how much you have utilized to this day, and whether you have gone over the budget or not. Review regularly. Don't wait until the end of the month to look at where you are, because by then you may have overspent. And here is what happens when you don't review regularly. You can overexpend and then get charged fees by the bank, right? There's nothing I hate. There's nothing I hate by being charged a fee by a bank. I hate it. It used to happen back then before I was aware. Imagine there are banks that charge upwards of $45 for an overdraft, $35 for an overdraft. And guess what those overdrafts are? The amount of money that you are incurring a $35 overdraft some of them are $3 and $9 and $6, and then you have to pay $35. Oh, every time it used to happen, it used to bother me. I hate it. Anybody who knows me that knows it. I hate it. It will never happen on my watch. So what do? I review regularly, and I don't sign up for overdraft. These days you can actually go behind the scenes in your account and turn off all those features. You don't need an overdraft. What you need is a budget, not an overdraft. Make sure that you never pay, because when you add those fees up in a year, there are people who pay thousands of them, because it's $35 today, $35 the next day, $35 next week, and we think, oh, it's just $35. No, add them up. Imagine if you were saving every one of those $35 in your savings account, in your high-yielding savings account. Imagine if you were putting that $35 every paycheck into your investment portfolio. Imagine what would happen. Please hear me and hear me loudly. Be enraged when you incur overdraft fees. I mean, go crazy at yourself. Tell yourself this will never happen again, because the bank is robbing you. And you are helping them, you are assisting them in robbing you. And they will tell you, oh yeah, it's an overdraft protection fee. There's no protection. Protection, you put your money in the investment and then it protects you for the future. Never. There are banks who make millions and billions of dollars per month. It is a source of income for them. Per month, they earn billions of dollars from overdraft fees. Never allow that to happen to you. I mean, set a boundary. And if you cannot control yourself, then go to the bank and say, I don't want an overdraft feature on my account. Please turn them off, everything. If there is no money, I am not going to explain. If I go over, it will bounce, but I'll never go negative. And they will turn those features for you. Then learn how to live within your means or below your means per se. The next is categorize your expenses. Organize your expenses into categories, identifying areas where you might overspend. Identify those areas that you might overspend and keep an eye on them. Now, managing income versus expenses. How do you manage your income? Now you have a budget. And the budget now shows you, number one, all your sources of income and how much that income is. Now you have a clear picture of your income. And now you have a clear picture of your expenses, all of them, right? Now, here is the challenge. What do you do now with that information? That's why we call it managing income versus expenses. There has to be some management that happens there. Now, for example, what if you notice that you have more expenses than your income? And that's usually the case for everybody who does not have a budget. Their income will always be lower than their expenses, right? If you don't have a budget, this is usually the case. You have more expenses and less income because you have no tool to help you manage your income. So if you realize that after creating your budget, after listing your sources of income and adding them up, and after listing your expenses and adding up, and then you realize that you have more expenses than income, then what do? Number one is that you can decide to increase the income. How? Either by creating a side gig or freelancing or asking for a raise from your employer. That's in many other ways that you can do. Start a business that doesn't require a lot of upfront money. Increase your income. Because if you don't increase the income, you always be you always have a shortfall. And the majority of people today, they have more expenses than their income. And as a result now, those are the people we say they live paycheck to paycheck. And usually there is more month left at the end of the money. So around the 20th, they've run out, completely run out. They are now running on fumes or at E, right? They are waiting, eagerly waiting for the next paycheck. Right. So if that is the case, then what it means is that you have to increase your income. You have very little leverage. You have to increase the income, right? If you want to keep your lifestyle, you increase the income. But what you can also do is that you can also adjust your spending. Adjust your spending, which means that you look at all your expenses and say, which of my expenses can I live without? Okay, or can I reduce? For example, if you eat out every day after work, or if you buy coffee every day, and then you can decide, you know what, I don't need to do that. I can actually buy coffee from Walmart and then make my own coffee at home, and then that's it. Then I cut. Or if you have been eating out, then you can say, you know what, I don't need to be buying expensive takeaway food. I'm going to buy grocery and actually make food at home, which is always way, way cheaper than doing it. So you are adjusting your spending. You are cutting back on some expenditures. And you look at, do I really need cable news? I can watch my news free online. Like I told you, I don't have cable since 2008, right? And I have saved a lot as a result of that. But when I did it, it was not for saving, but it has saved me quite a lot. You can look at your own expenses and ask yourself, what can I cut out? What can I reduce from my expenses? What can I go with that? Right. If you have been buying clothes every month or every 2 months, you can decide, you know what? I don't have to do that. I can go without clothing for a whole year. There are people actually who have way more clothing than they need, but they keep buying anyway. So you can reduce or you can adjust your spending and ensure that you have more disposable income. Or the third option, remember the first option is to increase income. Although I want the first option to actually be to adjust spending, right? But whichever way you decide, after you have reduced your expending, your expenditures, and you have increased your income, right? The third option is actually to do both. That's the third option. You can actually reduce your income and also, reduce your expenditures and also increase your income. I like that third option way, way, way more, because what it does is that it gives you way more disposable income to actually save and invest, to increase your income and decrease your expenditure. If you manage to do these two things, man, it will free up a lot of money to do a lot of things in the area of saving and investing. And what it means is also you may have to delay gratification. There are things that you are planning to do tomorrow or yesterday. And you may say, you know what, for this year, we are not going to do this. If there was a vacation that you needed to go at the end of the year, you may decide, you know, for this year, I will defer this to next year and use that income, that money, for saving or for investing. And then that, giving that, remember we said adjusting and then increasing income. And the third is prioritizing saving. Prioritizing. Why do you need to prioritize saving? Is because, like we said, problems will always show up, right? At home, appliances will break down. And usually when they break down, there isn't money saved. Things will always happen. You can be guaranteed that things will always show up that are urgent, that need money. So it makes so much sense to put money aside for emergencies. Prioritize it. Allocate a portion of every paycheck to saving, even in small amounts. This builds the habit of saving. And again, invest regularly. And you remember what we say at Kingdom Financial Institute. We say, sow from every paycheck. From your paycheck, put some money aside for the future. We are not talking about for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. No, for the future. That retirement is coming. That old age is coming. Plan for it today, because it will show up and you have nothing to show for it. Next, we're going to talk, and last, we're going to talk about the importance of living below your means. Right. You have heard people say live within your means. No. That's a bad idea. Living within your means that utilize everything. No, live beyond your means, which means that your lifestyle, your expenses must be below your income. That is the goal. And you keep finding ways to increase your income and keep finding ways to reduce your expenses so that you live way below your means, below your income, so that you have a real big cushion of income to put aside for investing and saving. What are the benefits of living below your income? Number one, stress reduction, right? Or maybe let's start with financial stability. Because once you have a cushion and then you put that money aside, you now have financial stability. You're never worrying about what's going to happen what will happen if, because now you have a plan and you are living below your means and you have enough money to put away and aside for those things that always show up. The next benefit is stress reduction. Did you know that finances are one of the top causes of stress? Money will stress you. Not that it's too much, but the failure to manage money can be a trigger for stress. So having a budget and sticking to it will lower your financial stress, which leads to diseases and other things. Spend less than you earn. Spend less than you earn. You have less stress. And then increased saving. The importance of living below your means is that you increase your savings. And then when you increase your savings, which means that the benefits outweigh the things that you could have bought. Right? You can use that money. If you have a debt, you can reduce that debt. or clear it off, then you have more peace of mind. What about wealth building? Once you live below your means, it means that that free money can now go into investments and build your income, build wealth for the next generations, or for retirement, or for college. Financial planning is important. We will not go into the planning for short-term needs and long-term goals. We'll talk about that next week. But for today, I hope you have gained some knowledge on how to, number one, set a budget. How to set a budget. How to set a budget and stick to it. You have to master the basics of budgeting, mastering them. And then you have to master the basic of tracking your expenses. Where is my money going? Every penny, where is it going? It's yours, it's hard earned. You sweated for it. Don't lose it, right? And then managing income. Like we have said, how do you manage it? You increase your income, and then you decrease your expenses. And then you have more money that you can use to save for the rainy day or to invest for the eventual future that is coming or that you are working toward. May God bless you. I will hand you over to Coach Lucy for one or two questions.
Thank you, Coach Isaac, for this amazing session. If you have a question, kindly type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you. You can take 2 questions. All right, I see Simba has a question. Please go ahead and ask it.
Thank you, Coach Lucy, and thank you, Pastor Isaac, for this information and knowledge. I appreciate how you simplify everything in a way that, you know, it's practical and we can implement on it. I just wanted to ask a question on, you know, the concept you brought about, you know, allocating the funds and, you know, setting priorities with it. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts if there's one way which is better than the other. So, for instance, like I remember, you know, a common thing is that, you know, people get, you get your income, your monthly income, and you know, pay everyone else, you pay your bills, and by the time you're done with that, you don't really have anything left for savings or even to invest. I remember reading in, I think, a book called Richest Man in Babylon, and they talked about paying yourself first. So instead they flipped it and said, for instance, you know, put it in, first start off by paying yourself and putting it in savings or investing. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts if, you know, there's one way which is better than the other when it comes to allocating. And also as a follow-up, if there are certain percentages you found to work out in terms of allocating, be it to giving, be it to your wants versus your needs.
Thank you. That is a profound question in terms of allocating, right? And the reason why we say that automate your investing and your saving is actually because of that principle of paying yourself first. Because what it means is that if you're investing and your saving is automated, if it's directly deducted from your employer as a direct deposit to your investment account or into your high-yielding savings account, it means that you are paying yourself first. If anything was to happen after that, and you're not able to pay anybody else, tough luck to them. But you have paid yourself first. That is the rule. we often prioritize other people and other bills and forget to actually pay ourselves first. Now, in terms of percentage, right, one thing that I've left out deliberately is tithes and offerings, right, which we are going to touch next week, right? Next week, we'll be talking about real percentages. And in these percentages, there is no one right way of doing it. There are many schools of thought, and we will discuss them next week when we discuss real numbers, including also based on your faith, things like tithes and offering. And also, not just offering, we're going to talk about how do you even help people? How do you help people? If somebody was to show up today and they say, may I have such and such amount of money, how do you handle that, right? Because it is not, if you look, it's not on the list of things that we talked about. Now, how do we help family members? How do we allocate that? What about if we have ailing parents? How do we do that? All that is going to be discussed next week, because those are real things that happen, and we need to know how to deal with them. Actually, even for me today, I received a call from somebody who wanted a significant amount of money just today. Now, if you don't plan for it, ahead of time, here's what ends up happening. If you don't plan for the money and you don't plan on how to respond to these family members, is that, number one, the need can be really great. And because you love them and the money is somewhere where it is just laying around, emotions will play games on you and violate principle and do things that you shouldn't do. So there's need to be a plan, and also not just a plan that involves boundaries and agreement. If you are married, both husband and wife need to come together and agree on things like, if we have something coming from our parents, how do we deal with that? So that you are not surprised one day you woke up and the husband has sent $3,000 to his brother, and the wife doesn't know, or the wife has sent $4,000 to her sister and the husband doesn't know. There has to be a way to deal with that. So we'll talk about those numbers. Dr. Chirag, thank you so much for your insightful questions. Did I answer all of them, by the way?
Yes, you did. Thank you very much, Pastor Isaac. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other question, please?
Thank you, Simba, for your question. I do see a question in the chat, but as it relates to percentage of our income, what do you recommend that we should allocate essential expenses? I think you have said you're going to cover that next week.
Next week.
There's another question. Would you please give us an example of budgeting apps or tools?
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, another lesson is coming where we will show you the budgeting tools. And we will also give you some of those, including an already made budgeting tool that I've been giving people for free. It's a very good spreadsheet that you can use it as an example. And just all you do is to change the items, and then it calculates most of the things automatically as you are entering the figures. So I recommend that, and we'll give that for free as well, so that you can utilize it. But next week we are talking about numbers and allocations, and we hope that you can come back, but also importantly, please invite somebody. Invite somebody. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Isaac, once again. We have come to the end of the session, but before we conclude, I have an announcement. I'd said it earlier, but not everyone was here. We are pleased to announce that our classes are back, our exclusive classes. Some of you were with us last year, and you know we had a series of classes going on, exclusive classes for only people who register. And this year, our first class will be happening in April, between April 15th and the 19th. And the topic is going to be how to invest in real estate without owning property. So if you would like to register, we don't have the link yet ready, but if you'd like to register before our link is ready, kindly shoot me an email at lucydavis@Kingdom Financial Institute. And we will take care of you. But by next week, we will have the link where you can register for the class. Again, the topic is going to be how to invest in real estate without owning property. So mark your calendars. It's exactly 1 month from now, from the 15th to the 19th of April. We will be winding up with a word of prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this session. Thank you for everyone who just joined us. Thank you for the families represented here. May you be with each one of them and meet them at their point of need, King of Glory, as we disperse to continue with life and do different things. May you strengthen us, may you equip us, and most importantly, may you help us to practice what we have learned in this class, that we may see evident transformation by the end of the year, by the end of the quarter, King of Glory, that we shall say that truly the time we have invested here has not gone to waste. Thank you for all the people who will be catching up on the recording. May you help them as well to practice what they hear, King of Glory. In Jesus' name I pray, believing and trusting. Amen. Thank you all for joining. We will see you next week, same time, same place.
Amen. Thank you so much, Coach Lucy.